Hi everyone, it's Rachel and Anthony.
Hello.
From Don't Crop Me Now. We're here for our monthly tour, and I know that we've actually missed a monthly tour last month, and that's just been because we have been so busy. Both Anthony and I are on the committee for our local allotment association, and there's been a lot of change and things going on with that, and it's just taken up a lot of our time. But let's have a look. It's the beginning of November. Let's see what's going on our allotments in South Manchester. Now, we have started to have a few frosts here in Manchester, but we have not had any really heavy frosts. But you will see that that's affected some of the plants. But really, again, because we've been so busy, I still have quite a lot of crops in that I need to harvest. And this beetroot is an example of this. So we tend to harvest most of the beetroot at once, and we tend to pickle and use this for storage. But interestingly enough, you can see here that some of these beets have grown really more leafy than forming a bulb on the bottom. So I think that might have just been the variation in the seed, and this is very similar to what you would have if you had Swiss chard, which is a relation of beetroot. So really we could probably eat some of these ones more for the leaves than the roots, and I know on those individual ones there's not actually much root there, but for the rest of them there is a massive crop of beetroot here, and that really needs to come out. Behind me, we've just got stuff that needs tidying up, in all honesty. You can see we've got things for composting. We have sorted out the cucumber frame that was over there, and we have just covered that up at the moment. This bed is completely empty. These are some recycled frames that are actually for the community plot, but we've not got enough storage on there, so it's just been put on this empty bed on our plot. But again, there's nothing in there. We haven't done any winter clearing yet, and as you can see, because we follow a no-dig method and we've been doing this for quite a while, we don't really have that many weeds. We've, in all honesty, done hardly any weeding really as well for the last couple of months, and you can see that there's not too many weeds around on the plot. Now, this flower bed, it's not exactly supported quite enough, but I'm really pleased with this. You can see these blooms look really, really beautiful. So these are chrysanthemums, and I put these should be perennial types of chrysanthemums, so it should be able to come through every year. It's actually Anthony's dad's birthday today, and I'm going to pick some of these flowers and take them home for Anthony's dad. But they need a little bit of a prune. We need to take off the dead flowers and then maybe support these up again. And there's a little bit of weeding in this bed, but overall it looks pretty good. I have bought a load of tulip and allium bulbs, some daffodils as well. I'm going to place them in this bed, and we're going to leave this as a permanent flower, a cut flower type bed. If we have a look in the next one, you can see that we've collected so much seed actually around the plots. I did tie all this up. This is coriander, and behind me is rocket, because it's set the seed, but it has been so wet the last few weeks that I don't know if there's any chance we're going to get this seed. I might end up just taking it out. You can actually eat the coriander seed green in some types of cooking, which maybe I might try and do because there's a lot of it on here and I'm really not sure it will dry out. We've got some more lavender plants in front of here, which I might put back into this flower bed as well and create a little bit of a border. But nothing much else going. A lot of the crops have come out on this. It's mainly the beetroot that is in. You can see here where we had the cauliflower and broccoli beds, and what we had been doing is cutting off the main heads of the cauliflower, the broccoli, and allowing the shoots to reform. I then decided to uncover it to see if we could set any seed, and as you can see there's lots of seed has set on here, but I don't think it's going to dry if the weather keeps up like this. But even now the side shoots of the broccoli keep coming, which is really quite amazing at this time of year. Right behind us, we do have, this is our winter, our main winter bed. We have got some sprouting broccoli, Brussels sprouts. I did take the netting off this and weed a little bit around there because it hadn't been weeded all year because the netting covered it all up. And we do have some leeks, and that is actually looking really good. And then just behind me, we have some quite small little red cabbages, only 6 of them. And I will use them probably for pickling and save some for Christmas dinner as well. We have started to prune some of the trees. They will still need further work in the winter, but we have been tidying these up. And this is now, you can see the difference on this pear tree. It's really starting to die back. And the apple tree in the background is looking a little bit greener. I couldn't quite get in there to be able to prune the top bits. So there's still quite a bit of upwards growth on that, which we will need to deal with probably when the leaves have all come off. The main pruning tends to be for us in December and January. And behind me here we have got a strawberry bed. I've left that to just do its own thing really. You can see there's a couple of brambles that are coming up. I have decided that we're going to take this strawberry bed out this year. It didn't do amazing with the fruiting. It's a little bit too close to the paths. It's a little bit too close to the trees and it's hard to get in, and the strawberry plants then start spreading themselves in under the trees. So I think I'm going to take this out, and then we're going to use this more just for an area to put cuttings, like the cuttings that are behind me in pots. We'll probably spread them out more in this area, and I might put a little seat there as well. Let's have a look in the greenhouse. There's definitely still activity here. We still need to do our major chilli harvest. This door is not great.
A few moments later.
And the door's fixed and we are in. And as you can see in here, we are absolutely full of chilies. And some of these really need to get harvested now because the fruits themselves do not like the frost. So that needs to be a job really for the next week or so before it gets even colder. But really excitingly behind us, we have got this massive loofah. And it's still pretty solid, but it's starting to dry off. The vine itself is drying off. So fingers crossed. I think if we manage to get this loofah to dry out, it's going to make a lot of soaps. I'm planning to put it in a homemade natural soap mix, which I normally make, and then slice it up so the loofah is within the soap. That is the plan. We've only got the one loofah, so fingers crossed it actually works. And we're over onto plot 4, and you can definitely see the change with the weather in this plot. Now this bed had the parsnips in, which we did let go to seed, and you can really see how many seeds of parsnips are still germinating in there because loads of seeds had fallen on the top. I think I'm going to leave it like that, and I'm going to try not to disturb the soil and hopefully let the frost kill the majority of the seeds, because at the moment they are on the surface. If I start disturbing it, they're going to get buried and they'll probably just all start germinating next year, and I want to try and reduce that. So let's see if the frost actually does that job. Now behind me we have some more leeks, and these leeks are actually doing a lot better than the other leeks. They're a lot bigger, so I'm not quite sure. They're multi-sown leeks. We have not picked many of these, just a few so far, and there are some kohlrabi underneath that as well. But again, we will keep eating these throughout the winter. Our big Bramley apple tree has not been brilliant this year. I think we showed you earlier on that it had some sort of disease, and some people were suggesting that was something called bitter pit, I think. It only really affects the fruits, and we didn't really get much of a harvest because a lot of the fruits dropped when they were quite small. But you know what, we've still got loads of apple in the freezer from the year before and in our canning, so it's not really any biggie. Hopefully for next year we will be in a better position. We have done some pruning on this tree, but we will need to do some more again in the winter. Now if we have a look at this area where we've got our little pond, the pond itself is actually looking really good. I am planning to change this pond for next year, and we're going to make a higher level on it, probably sort of in this area. So the idea is I'm going to take this rockery out. I will reuse all the plants and the rocks and just create a more new design really of pond, and the idea is to try and get this little waterfall into function. That's my plan anyway. Behind me, the strawberries are looking really good. We took loads of cuttings off these strawberries. That bed was put in last spring, so the plants are looking really healthy, and the frost has not completely ruined all the dahlias quite yet, so we may be able to pick a few of the better ones to put in that bunch of flowers for Anthony's dad. And if we keep moving on to the rest of plot 4, you can really see the difference around here. The rhubarb has just completely died down now. A lot of the crops have come out on these sections here. I have taken the asparagus down and we have weeded in there. That was probably the most weedy part of the plot. I'll be honest, I haven't really weeded it for most of the season. And there's definitely some seeding weeds that have gone in there. It's going to need mulching really, really, really well. And behind me here, Most of these areas are clear. We need to do our annual mulching. As you can see, these beds are empty, and it's not the best practice really to leave your beds completely empty with no covering for the rest of the year. The soil works a lot better when it's covered up. By covering up, I don't necessarily mean putting some plastic down, but something like mulching with some compost or well-rotted manure is ideal for us. So we need to get on that. We need to find a source. It's been really difficult for us to find a source of manure that will deliver this year. I think the cost of the fuel prices is just really putting farmers off wanting to deliver that, and we don't have a trailer to collect ourselves, so we need to get some sort of plan into action for that. We're not quite sure how that's going to work. This picnic table is just here because it's come off our community plot. So we got some donations of some new picnic tables, and we have donated this to another plot holder, but they need to come and move that. That's why it's just on our plot, just out of the way at the moment. And behind me here, we still have loads of potatoes. These are going to need to go into the polytunnel for storage pretty soon as the weather gets cold. But other than that, you can see the potato, where the potatoes previously were, has been cleared out. And here we have carrots. We still definitely have carrots in. These have been an absolutely brilliant crop this year. There's still loads of carrots in here. The parsnips were absolutely rubbish, in all honesty. I think we discussed that in a previous video, but the carrots are brilliant. I will take this surrounding barrier off quite soon. It will not like staying out in the cold weather, but the carrot fly shouldn't be a problem now. So I'll take those off, and we will continue to harvest them throughout the winter. The only other thing that we've got left on here is we have some beans that are left. We have harvested most of our beans and have started podding them for drying. As you can see here, we're just at the stage for these ones to be podded as well. These ones were the white runner beans, and they tend to set seed and dry off a bit later than the French types of beans. So that's why it's still on there, but we'll have to get this off soon because it will not like the wet weather. And then behind me, we do have the giant cabbage, which have been absolutely rubbish this year. They've not even hearted up. Compared to last year, where we did quite well, this year has been a bit pointless. I think I might even just get that one off and give it mainly to the chickens and put the rest on the compost. Behind me, the flower border needs a bit of a tidy up, but a lot of the crops are actually out of plot 4 now. Let's go and have a look at plot 2B with Polytunnel in the fruit cage. Before we pop over to plot 2B, I thought I'd show you guys this. One of the jobs that we have done over the last couple of months is try and sort out all the storage of the leaf mould that we've been building up. And we have put all the 1-year leaf mould into this composting bin here, and it will stay here for another year because it's not quite done, but it's looking quite neat and tidy. And we've just put some of the heavier sort of storage items on top of here just to make sure this lid does not blow off in the weather that we will be getting over the next few weeks. But pretty pleased with this one. As we have been tidying up and harvesting the crops, we have been filling our composting system. And you can see here, we've got the freshest parts of the compost here. This is the middle bed. We're going to try and move this area of compost onto the top of here as it drops and see if we can get them all in one cube. And we have another one here that is pretty much filled up as well. So we're starting to run out of composting area. So it's a good job that we have got most of the crops out. What we have not done at all yet is deal with any of the fruit that's within this fruit cage. And I haven't really done anything with this for quite a while. You see that it doesn't need weeding, and all of this will need pruning, but we will mainly do this over the winter. That tends to be a winter job for us. It doesn't look too bad because it's got that slabbed path, so that keeps it reasonably tidy, but I'll be honest, we haven't really done much action in there. However, those blueberries are looking very pretty. They're a lovely red colour. Let's look at the fruit trees. We did do a little bit of pruning on the fruit trees. So if we have a look here, we have started pruning on this tree. This one is not looking quite good actually. We have pruned that one down. We still need to do some of the tip pruning that we should have been doing in summer. It still needs a bit more of work, but I might leave that now probably to the winter. The little pear tree again is looking like a nice shape, and the fig behind us is now starting to drop all of its leaves, and these will need to be taken up, and again I'll put those in the compost. We will need to cut this tree down. We need to do that every single year because it is such a beast. It will keep growing, and there is a 10-foot limit to trees on our ground. That means things must be pruned to 10 foot, so we need to take this down to 10 foot every single year. We've been saying for ages that we're going to be getting this tree out. Again, this is a cherry, and we've got the same problem with that one being a bit of a beast. This is definitely going to come out over this winter because again, it's just getting too big. That will also give us a bit more light over into the polytunnel. We take some of the height of this and also get rid of this tree. So a lot of this is going to need tidying up. It's not too bad. It's mainly because all the leaves have fallen, and that's a job of getting them all up and getting those on the top of those compost bins. Let's look in the polytunnel. Now I have tidied it up in here. We haven't managed to get crops in over winter, which is a little bit disappointing, but I think we've just been so busy. We've just got to concentrate on what we can manage to do. I harvested the chilies that were in here, and some of these still have not ripened up. It doesn't get the same heat in here and light as it does in the greenhouse. So I have turned these upside down and hung them from the metal sections of the polytunnel. Last year we found that was a really successful way of getting chilies to ripen up this time of the season. So there's actually loads of fruits on these. So hopefully we should get some more chilies. Not that we really need more chilies because we've got absolutely loads, but we will get them off. We can always give some away if we have too many. The apricot tree is looking really quite good. It will drop all its leaves and we should be left with that frame structure, which we can continue to make sure we're tying in over winter. I have purchased a grapevine, which I'm really, really excited about. This is a sort of like pinky grape. It's called Crimson Seedless. It's meant to be able to go outdoors, but I really want it to be in here because I want to train it up over the polytunnel. So I think the idea is we're going to plant it in this corner so the roots can just go outside and it can come in this corner, and then we will train it up here and over the polytunnel structure at this end. I have also bought a kiwi vine, which is this one, which apparently is also very hardy and can go outside. I'm not going to put this inside because I've seen how vigorously they grow and I think it would take over the polytunnel. So I do think I'm going to put this one outside, but I have no idea where I'm going to have the space to put it yet. So we're going to have to think about that because it will need some sort of frame to climb up, and that might be a winter project. And finally, let's just have a look at the tidied up section with the leaf mould. That's looking much better now. And this is now the 2-year-old leaf mould. It will be 2 years old when we get through to spring. This is the stuff that we'll be using predominantly to make our seed and potting on mixers. I have actually used quite a bit of this already to pot up some stuff like strawberries for the community plot, and it actually worked really well mixed in with a few different items. So the stuff at the bottom is actually really quite well rotted, and then in the top I'd say it's nearly there, but hopefully by spring it will be good. I'm tempted to put a tarp over these just to stop them getting wetter and wetter and wetter, but hopefully by spring we'll have really good leaf mould to use. So if you've enjoyed the video today, please like, comment and subscribe. It only takes a minute, but it really helps our channel. Bye everyone.
Bye.